I'm talking with Julie Edge, the Education Minister. This comes on the hot news that the unions are going to take strike action now. This is being ramped up to another level. Is there any sign of this getting sorted? It just seems now to be going on, well, since you've had the job and before. This has gone on for some years now, hasn't it? But nobody is getting together?
So, no, certainly there's meetings always taking place with the unions with regards to the pay and some of the concerns that they've raised with the department they wish to be addressed. Obviously, it has been going on a lot longer than my tenure in the post. Last year, we put an offer out which was accepted by the majority of unions. However, this one union, NASUWT, did not accept that. However, we did implement that to ensure our teachers knew that the department was progressing and trying to address the challenges around pay and some of the working practices that needed addressed. This year, the pay offer has been negotiated and we've been around the tables many times. And the final offer went out at the end of September to all of the unions. We only heard yesterday via the media that NASUWT are rejecting the latest pay offer, which did see an increase on the previous offer. And we await the other four unions' response to that. However, I believe we've had one union come back to us positively today to say they accept the latest offer.
There's a bit of fraction there between the unions. That's interesting. But is it 5 or 6 different unions?
It's 5.
Five unions. Yeah. It's incredible. So they can all agree or disagree individually, but you need you can't implement everything, I'm guessing, until you've got everyone on side.
It's collective bargaining arrangements, so we have to go out to all unions and ensure that they all have the same offer. And it's down to the individual unions then to negotiate with their members or ballot their members and come back to us with the outcome of that once they've been with the offer to their members.
But wasn't it something like 30% over 3 years they were looking for way back? Is that how much they want?
That's certainly what NASUWT are aiming for. They want a 30% pay deal over a 3-year period. The Isle of Man, if this offer would have been accepted, is a 12% over the 2 years. I think that's a sustainable way forward for the island. And, you know, to attract teachers to the island, we've looked at the lower pay scales, which was a request of the unions to increase that, and we've increased that from £25,000 salary to a £36,000 starting salary if this would have been accepted. However, we are talking about one union that's taken the action, and they're the only ones to announce so far that they're not accepting.
Everyone calculates inflation on different rates. I know there's the RPI and the other one. I mean, one's running at very high, which is one. I'm guessing that's where they're picking this figure up for. But you like to negotiate another, which of course it will be a lower one. I mean,
well, the Isle of Man policy is CPI. I'm not sure anybody's ever received a pay award that's been RPI. So it does depend how people choose to calculate and present their case.
But with inflation, it will be a pay cut. Everyone accepts that, don't they? In the sense of real terms. Inflation
only really we all know it was ramping up, but the figure in September was the one that hit the 10%. But we have that across. You know, that's every employee throughout government. The difference that we have with our teachers is that they are employed directly by the department. They're not employed by the PSC, and the negotiations that the Chief Executive Officer and OHR carry out are with all unions, not just with one union.
Right. We always keep hearing that we can't retain teachers here in the Isle of Man, it's too expensive. I know you put a London weighting on the actual, is it 3% on the actual deal, but, you know, does this make it impossible to find people who will actually want to go into the teaching profession, that they can't afford to take positions up here in the Isle of Man?
That's certainly, we filled all of our vacancies in September. I know prior to the schools breaking up, there was concern that there was 15 teachers leaving one school. All those jobs were filled. People have relocated to the island, and I think changing these pay bands was a good way forward, and to make that starting salary attractive for people to come to the Isle of Man. But we also do pay housing allowance for people.
But only for a couple of years, right?
At the moment, it's only for a couple of years, and that is a policy we are currently looking at, because it could be that cliff edge that causes a problem. But also, teachers on the Isle of Man are on a different pension scheme on the island as well. So there's a number of challenges that have been previous decisions that have been reached, but they're policy decisions that we can look at and change. And we've agreed to look into all of the concerns raised by the union, and we've sent them an offer letter addressing all of the concerns. One of them was with regards to having additional staff and education support officers in school. We've provided the funding, and it's down to the individual schools to get the resources for 20 cover supervisors to help with this. What they talk about is cover, and rarely cover. So teachers have a teaching workload of 30 periods a week, and when they have free periods, they could be called to do cover. So we've addressed that as well to help support them. So.
A fair amount of teachers, I'm guessing, it's a civil servant thing, are on the spine, right? They go up these spines, but you have a lot of people, I'm guessing, that was at the top of their spines. These are the ones that be affected more by just having that increase and not an increase on their spine.
Yeah,
is that right?
The pay scale, obviously there is an upper pay scale, currently it goes from M1 to upper 3, which is a 9-point pay scale. We've proposed, and the unions had requested we look at this, that it went down to 6. But on top of that, if a teacher takes on a responsibility, so say a head of department, say the teacher head of languages or head of mathematics, they then also get a TLR allowance, which is like a management allowance on top of that. So the basic salary, which would have gone up to the 46,000 mark, there's also an allowance on top of that could range between 3 to 15,000.
Are you saying teachers on about 46, or is that an average, or is that the top end?
So that's the top end. Right. That's what it would have been if this had been accepted. Currently, it's 43,000 as an average, and that's once you've done your main pay scale, and then there's 3 upper points.
We're running out of time. Very quickly, the industrial action. Do you know what form it exactly will take? Or, I mean, we always think of that as people just withdrawing their services. Do the unions have enough people to make life difficult for you? Will you just send people home for the day? Because 5 or 6 of these days are already planned, aren't they?
That's the difficulty for us to plan the contingency, because we don't know what action they will take on the individual days, and that's a challenge for the head teachers and contingency, and obviously that's something we will look at all scenarios that we could be faced with. And of course, teachers may choose to do it, they may choose not to, whether they're in the union or not. So it is a difficult one. Do we want to sort it out? We do. We've always said we've got an open door policy. We're happy to get round the table again, but I do feel we've given a fair, sustainable offer to teachers on the Isle of Man, which is between an 8 and an 11 over 11% pay award. And we've increased the Isle of Man weighting to, which would have then been 4% on top of the London Fringe. So I do think that's been a significant shift and this government's investing in our teachers over the last 2 years, and I think that's a significant shift, and we'll just await the outcome of the other unions.